Welcome everybody to MogTalk episode 118. Today is September 2nd, 2017. And if you guys are new to MogTalk, it's a podcast based around the Final Fantasy XIV community where we discuss everything from Chocobo Racing to Savage Raiding to PvP, which is today's topic. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about. I got a 8-question interview over to Yoshida. He responded back to us, and we will be discussing a lot of that, plus a lot of other news with PvP today. I have with me an excellent cast to talk about everything that's going on. And first, I'm actually going to start with Biggs. Biggs, could you do me a favor, and can you introduce yourself to everybody and let them know kind of who you are and why you're qualified to talk about PvP?
I'll introduce, qualifies into the question now. Alright, so my name's Big, from Ragnarok server, which is the Chaos data center. I do play on Primal Aether as well, and mostly just play Monk for this season.
Okay. Excellent. What's your rank, Biggs?
For Chaos, Diamond, or Primal, I'm in my Diamond Primos at the moment.
Sure. As a monk?
Yeah, just a Monk. Were you about to call me a jerk?
Yeah. I was going to call you a jerk for being in Diamond. I can't get above 1600. But that's because Paladin just got crushed. Okay. Let's go next to a guest who's been on the show as well before a few times here. Plus one, can you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are?
Sure thing. So my name's Plus One. I was the creator and commentator of the 2017 Aether Cup Feast Tournament, which was held at twitch.tv/AetherCup. I've mainly played on Aether, top 100 in solo queue all 5 seasons, rank 1 in Light Party season 3, and was the winner of the Las Vegas Fan Festival Feast Tournament with Stefan, Atreus, and Slib. I've played pretty much every role this season, and other than that, I compose game-inspired music from time to time, which you can check out at plustheone.com.
There you go. All right. We also have one new guest that hasn't been on the show before, but I think we'll make an excellent contender for, I guess, the PvP Mog Talks that we do here. Miyuki, how are you doing, buddy? Can you tell everybody who you are?
Yeah, sure. I'm Miyuki from Excalibur server. I'm pretty much playing this season on every data center except for Elemental.
Mm-hmm.
My PvP experience, I started playing in Season 1, but I only played maybe about a month because I had to go to China overseas for the majority of the season. And Season 2, 3, and 4, I was top 10 on range, and I pretty much just have played ranged ever since.
Okay. And ranged, are you focused on one job more than others?
This season I am focused on Black Mage, but season 1 through 4 I played only Machinist.
Okay, only Machinist. Machinist was actually what I started out with, by the way. I think that it was amazing back pre Stormblood, because I felt like it was amazing just to delete someone really quick. I played in the NA FanFest tournament as a Machinist, so there's my competitive history there. I lost in the first round because I ran to the wrong base at the very end of the match, but
I remember that.
I felt so it was horrible. It was literally the most embarrassing thing. I haven't PvP'd in quite a while, and I was like, all right, I'll go in here and mess around, and in the first round you're like, well, we're doing all the rounds on stage. Come on, man. I'm not qualified to sit up here in front of people and make a fool out of myself, but I did anyways. All right, guys. So today we have mostly a conversation on PvP. I, again, submitted these questions over to Yoshida. There's a lot of other stuff that came out outside of that interview that we'll be talking about in regards to PvP as well. We have a pretty packed show, but it might be drifting off into another talk about PvP later on. We'll see how the topics go. I do want to say this before we even start up. I am very grateful that Yoshida and everyone who was involved in getting these questions over to him helped me out to make sure that we could get some of these, I think, pretty vital questions answered in some way. And I know some people might not like all the answers, but hey, dude, we got a response, and that's all I could really hope for most of it. So I will not, however, be, I'm pretty optimistic, is what I want to say. I'm optimistic in a lot of terms. There's a couple things that I wish I heard a different answer to, but in the end, I don't develop this game, and I'm not even remotely qualified to tell someone they're wrong in some of these answers that I got back here. I guess that's my little stumble there for the very beginning of the show, to say, guys, keep calm, keep your heads, and that's why Stefan's not here. Fucking Stefan. That won't keep his head, man. All right, so let's get in here, and I'm gonna pull up these questions, which you can find at mogtalk.org. Guys,
plug.
I got a website, mogtalk.org. And there, you should be able to find all of the different questions I have for interviews, as well as my Twitter activity and the recent podcasts that I have done will all be listed there on that site. Okay. You guys, Miyuki, you said you went over it a little bit. Biggs, did you read through some of these questions?
Bits here and there, aye.
Okay. +1?
I did.
You did? How do you guys feel after, just a general feeling right now after seeing all of those questions answered? Positive, negative, completely honest. Mixed?
No hope.
No hope? So he
No.
said Biggs?
I'm not hopeful.
Okay. The pessimist. All right. Miyuki?
Not hopeful.
Okay.
More or less hopeful than I am hopeful.
Okay. +1?
I am very much looking forward to the future of Light Party. I think while they didn't really say that much information, the details that they did say, I'm really excited about. Mainly because they could have taken it in any direction, but I like the fact that they want to go with something that's a little more organized, which of course we're going to cover later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
That was the main thing I was focused on, was just his response to Light Party and tournaments and stuff like that.
Right. And some interesting stuff is actually in there for that. So let's go through these questions. I'll just go through them one by one. And all these questions, by the way, were questions that I got from the community. They're things that I felt were important questions that needed to be answered, that I hear every single day in the Tryhard Discord or talking to other PvP players. It always comes down to these topics as major topics, outside of the little balance changes and everything else, right? And the first one, though, is more cited towards something that I was kind of curious about. I want to know what happens behind the scenes with Feast, because a lot of people are like, oh, do they have a team back there? Do they have, like, what happens when they actually create something? How much work do they put into it and everything else? So my question was, what does the development of new PvP modes look like behind the scenes, and what about the work behind monitoring and balancing the content? And this is actually the longest answer I think he gave. He pretty much said that, generally speaking, we create long-term plans for Final Fantasy XIV up to 2 years in the future, determining the focus, parameters, and rules. By the way, there's my dogs if you can hear them. For in-game content are a part of this cycle. PvP content included, or is included in this planning cycle as well. The battle team. So I want to take a second to kind of dive into that. The battle team and I take the lead to discuss the type of PvP content and rules to create while considering the direction that the community is leaning towards and the play data from the game. So when he says the battle team, this is a reference to not just a PvP team, but the team in general, right? Are you guys picking that up? Kind of like, hey, we have a team dedicated to making boss fights and PvP content. Is that what you guys maybe read from that, or am I just assuming that?
Well, the battle team, but yeah, they could be the same battle team that does the PvE and the PvP side. So
Yeah.
it's, which one is taking more of their time, which is most likely PvE.
Yeah. And so the thing that I'm kind of grasping for this is that we have a team of developers who aren't dedicated to one thing in the game. They're dedicated to making multiple bits of content to the game, which is kind of what I wanted to find out from that question. But I think that that's what I'm pulling from that right now, at least. We also discussed how far we are looking to evolve the PvP content from its latest iteration as we construct our plan. The plan to create new large-scale PvP content was planned for 4.1, which we all know is a 48-man. All right, that's the new thing that they're wanting to do. That separates players into two opposing sides. Came about because we felt that we had solidified a strong rule set for Frontline, and therefore created a completely separate PvP experience. Content design leads up to the base rules. Bring these rules to the battle team for further polishing and improvements, and then ensure the larger team, including myself, are conscious with the created rules. Is that conscious? No, that's not conscious. That's consensus. Consensus with the created rules. Once that is done, we ask for the map to be created, and programming will begin following the rules that have been established. Balancing of PvP content is mainly based on everyone's feedback and play data. Balancing of the content before the release is mainly based on repeated play test sessions. Thank you for giving us a lot of feedback all the time. It's a great help. Okay, so there's a couple things to pull from this, right? He gave us information on balancing, and a little bit, just that one little sentence there gives us a good bit of information. Simply him saying that balancing of the PvP content is mainly based on everyone's feedback and play data. Great. Balancing on content before the release is mainly based on repeated play test sessions. So they have testers on their end that are constantly playing the PvP side, or playing these PvP games, right?
But are they the right people?
Well, we don't know. Of course, they're not. I'm guessing they're not like the top of the leaderboard, right? They're not top of leaderboard players.
They're the same people that do them PvP shows. God help us.
That's not true. All right. So, first off, the people who do the PvP shows. Now, do you watch the EU PvP shows, Bix?
I've watched like one and just cried.
One? I haven't watched those yet, so I don't really have a lot of experience with that.
Well, they get themselves going to solo queue, and it's just you just queue judge. You just don't want them on your team.
Okay. Well, we won't get too much into that, but I understand what you're talking about. But the people who test it are people in Japan. This is like a dedicated testing team, I'm assuming, because that's their community team. Community team's separate from the testing team. It has to be, Biggs. The community team's not sitting there beta testing this stuff, not to my knowledge. They have a completely separate team for it. At least that's what I read from that. +1, what are your thoughts on it?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I really, in general response to what his answer was, I think it would definitely be better if they listened more to what players are saying on like the forums and stuff. Mm-hmm. At least like the English forums, because I'm not sure how responsive they are to what's being said on JP. Mm-hmm. But at least like there's been several threads that are I think tens of pages long, such as like for like the chat ban and just general balance changes that are like really well constructed from like the top players too. So I think it would be more helpful if they could look more into player feedback, especially some that are very well constructed over on the forums.
I feel like we have gotten some response from stuff that we posted on the forums. Maybe not all the ones that we wanted, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the balance changes I think that came in 4.06 were simply from what people said. I don't know if it was said in both Japanese servers or Japanese forums and English forums, but I know a lot of that stuff was said on the English forums, and it's stuff that I don't think I don't all agree with it, but they took that advice, right?
Yeah.
Like, stuns are too much to deal with right now. So now what do we have? We have a -1 second on the Paladin thing. I think that's what it came from, right? stuns being too strong, CC being too strong, so they just trimmed it down a little bit, and they decided Paladin had too much of a stun. So it's now a 2-second stun. What was the other complaints that we had from the servers? They pretty much said...
Monk's apparently too OP.
Monk's too OP, right? Which, I mean, is that true? Was it true, Biggs?
Tornado kick, probably you could have nerfed that, but I don't know. We've gone from 30% to 20% to now 10% umbrella fire. I think that was too much, but I agree with the tornado kick nerf. Umbrella fire definitely.
They actually nerfed what I didn't want them to nerf. I wanted them to make it so monks couldn't triple riddle, so like one riddle would override the other, because before, when monks activated Riddle of Fire, you couldn't escape from them because they had like sprint, they had double dash. It was almost impossible to escape their burst because it took like 3 seconds for them to like do their whole combo or whatever.
Which that's something that probably needs to be pointed out too. I think most people just complain that the damage was too high, though, right?
It was too high, and it was also like almost unavoidable. It was very difficult to avoid, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was almost kind of a two-part issue, because Monk burst was really high, but also sustained healing is really high too. So because they nerfed Monk, now sometimes like you'll notice matches get into culling time more often than before, because healers now just have a much easier time. And I think there's a reason why like the top 10 of most data centers are mostly healers.
Yeah. No, right now I think that the balance between damage, CC, and healing is not there. And that's why healers are so high up on the boards. And there's a clear difference between really good aggressive healers versus just average okay healers, normal healers, like regular players. Because really good players can completely destroy them, and they just farm these other healers and get lots of points and get to the top of the board, right?
Definitely.
So then they sit AFK.
Then they sit AFK. Okay, so the other thing that I want to pull from this response that we got from him is that he also said that they start with a set of rules. They give that to the team, then they give them a map, and then they start programming to make the rules fit properly on that map. And so that's what I'm thinking is happening with the 4.1 content that's coming out, and that's why he gave us those hints, because that's how they're developing it right now. I mean, do we feel like Square Enix Okay, this is a stupid, redundant question. Do we feel Square Enix should have a dedicated PvP programming and testing team?
If they want to be more focused in serious competitive play and tournaments, then yeah, absolutely. I think now PvP in the Feast is still in its infancy in a way, because they haven't explored tournaments and like more serious play yet. But I think if they are trying to make that push into that market, then yeah, they should probably invest more into the team that manages PvP.
Yeah. I mean, the people who test it, you only have the internal testers. That's just how Square Enix works right now with Final Fantasy XIV. They have internal testers. They don't go out and do beta tests with the players or anything else. Do we need to have beta test PvPers?
Maybe. That's the thing. Maybe if they're not going to do as changes as often as we've had one set of changes in season, and possibly more maybe, because it has been called 4.06A, so it could be more coming. If they do the changes more often, maybe not. But if the change is always slow and poor, then yeah, I'm game for Peter.
Okay, so here's the changes that they put. Everyone was upset in 4.05 because no PvP changes came, right? And the season started. And then everyone saw the changes that came in 4.06, and then everyone was upset because the changes weren't like exactly what they wanted. So when is there any way to like do a patch where we have changes or we don't have anything or we have something and we're just like, this is great. This is perfect. We all agree that these changes should happen. No?
I don't think so, because people always have different view on things, and also like the meta is different for every data center. So I don't know. It's just,
and that's a good point to talk about too. Is the meta being a little bit different for every single data center? Because if they are focusing like on different metas, and the meta is from a JP side, and Miyuki, you have experience with that. How different is the JP meta from the NA meta?
it's extremely different. I talk to healers, or I see healers play on JP, and they don't take Muse, they don't take Safeguard, and if you told an NA player to not take Muse or Safeguard, they'll think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And JP is also like very heavy melee focus, and they like to just like kill the range over and over and over. I remember like one of my first games this season on range, I was like 0-5 because I just didn't know how to deal with the pressure. Eventually got used to it, but it's very different playing range in JP than it is in NA.
Which is interesting because then they got to balance around that, right?
Right.
Do you think that they can both balance that out, then balance out like how we play over here in NA? With every, I don't know. It just seems like impossible. I think right now NA might need to start adapting better meta strategies, because I think that's a really great idea, right? Instead of going and focusing one person down at a time, find the easiest person to kill and kill that person over and over and over again, so you're not completely the match isn't lopsided as soon as you collect too many medals. Right?
Right.
+1. Any comments? Do you think NA meta should change?
Yeah, NA is kind of in a weird spot, and I don't think it's necessarily the meta, just as much like the players and the mindset that has to change. Because I think in NA, players tend to be more focused on their own gameplay, and they don't really respond as well as JP, for example, when it comes to team synergy and coordination, like synced burst and like chain CC. So because of that, I think that's also part of the reason why it may be harder for melee and ranged to carry on NA compared to healers and tanks, which are inherently more self-sufficient.
Right. So to piggyback off of what Plus said, before in 3.x, if you were a DPS, you could solo carry, Ranger or melee. I've seen both solo carry games completely take over games. But now, since DPS is like 50% of the team, so they can't have like two DPS that can both go solo someone, because that would make the match completely imbalanced, which is why I think it's harder to carry as a DPS player. And then Lion in chat brought up a good point that NA and EU players, as far as I've seen, they use nice job like super sarcastically, and very rarely I see that in JV. Maybe one in like 30, 40 games I'll see someone use hello or nice job.
Maybe they're not doing a nice job.
Well, good point. But I mean, is that like also a culture thing? Sarcasm isn't.
I think it would be a culture thing also.
Yeah, because I know in some cultures it's like sarcasm just doesn't make sense. It takes a while for people to get it, but it's super common in America and EU. It's just like it's part of our humor, right? And so we see this and we're like, yeah, nice job, son of a bitch, and you just keep spamming it. And that's what it is. So, I mean, it's the whole balancing thing is kind of weird, and I think that they do need to make steps to make an improvement on it. The other thing that I want to talk about, that's a little bit off topic, if you guys don't mind for a second, is I feel like we have this mentality of, like, villainizing Square Enix. Do you guys agree with that at all?
They haven't helped themselves.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, so we kind of, when they do things and they say things, we take it as like a mindset of, oh, they're horrible, they suck, they're doing something because they don't care, right? We don't think about it in any other way. Biggs, I know, I see that on your face. You think they're villains, right?
I think they're villains, but I don't think they care.
Okay. So I'll just I'll go on the other side of this. I'll play the what do you call it? Devil's advocate. So here we have Square Enix, and they're making pushes. From everything that I've seen so far, they're making more pushes towards PvP. They have to do a lot of things to actually improve upon it. We all know that, right? We can't go into esports the way PvP is right now. At all.
Nope.
But I do think that they show effort in it, trying to do a good job with it. I don't know if... I don't know the best way to really explain that. I don't think that they're out there not caring and kind of half-assing it, which is kind of what everybody thinks right now, right? Okay, Biggs, yeah. Miyuki?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. +1?
Yeah, it's definitely not the highest priority.
Okay. We'll see. I mean, in the next couple of months, there's a lot of stuff that we'll find out if they're actually going to make it a priority or not. And this stuff includes the tournament that they're planning on making, the official Square Enix tournament that they're planning on doing, right? Which we'll get more into a little bit later. Let's go ahead and let's hit the second question here, because I want to move, because I feel like we're going to stay on that for like 5 hours, actually. I asked him about, if they are going to center around PvP around Feast, because that's the other question, right? A lot of people aren't happy about the Feast mode because they feel like it's unbalanced and everything else. But my question was, in 2.x, the main PvP mode seemed to be centered around Fold. In 3.x, Feast was introduced, and seen as Feast was carried into 4.x, should we expect this to be the golden standard for serious PvP content? Which he replied as, yes, we are currently planning to keep the Feast as the core PvP content and expand from there. We're also working on implementing team creation comprised of 4 to 6 players, team registration, team rating, and rankings, in addition to making this an official competitive sport. We believe that we will be able to implement these features by patch 4.2. We plan to hold official and offline tournaments from there. How do you guys feel about that?
Is the same people going to be moderating this online tournament the same ones who monitor Feast currently?
So, I hope not.
That's pretty much, if it's different people, it'll work.
You're talking about GMs, right?
Well, duh. Who is it? I don't
think,
see anything done.
Well, I think it's just GMs. Just GMs going in there and moderating the Feast. And I don't know if they're... I don't know. I feel like an ass talking about how the GMs work, because I don't really know how they do. But I feel like there's no one dedicated in there saying, hey, this is how you should handle Feast issues. If someone's reported for this is what you need to investigate and how to investigate it.
Well, if someone's speed hacking, ban.
Well, okay.
Done.
They have to find out if they're speed hacking, though, right?
Jesus, doesn't take a genius.
I mean...
If that black mage is going faster than I'm sprinting, ban.
Yeah, it depends on the tools they're given too. Are they given the tools to see if they're actually going that fast, or if there's some weird latency thing that's happening?
Just give them some eyes. That'd be grand.
That's nice. Okay. Do they record the matches? Are there parts where they can go and look at it? They actually have to go and look at a player upload a video, right?
Well, they don't like that. They don't go by them, do they? They don't like going by YouTube or Twitch. They won't use that.
Like they have,
right?
They would have to go into the instance. Like they would have to sit there and watch them play those games, right? Actively.
Which they claim they can do.
But if they can do that, then that should be able to help them. And that they can open a case and go there and find all that stuff. That's the one thing that I wish I got a better answer on here, but we'll get into that in a bit. Let's talk a little bit more, though, about the part where he's saying that the Feast is going to be the golden standard, basically, for the PvP competitive modes here. Are you guys okay with that, or do you want them to go back to the Fold or change it up a little bit?
I never really tried Fold till towards the end of Heaven's Ward, so I'm not too fussed myself. I didn't do PvP then.
Okay. So you like Feast. You're just fine with it. That's just all you've done.
I'm okay with Feast.
You okay with Feast? Okay. +1?
So I think the Fold, or Wolves Den as it was called at the time, was a lot easier for, like, it was just a lot easier to understand because you didn't really have medals, you didn't have respawning. It was a simple, it was a more simple arena style game mode that you'll find in other games and other MMOs, like WoW Arena was like the closest comparison, and it's just something you can kind of jump into, and you get the rules, you get everything, and you just go with it. With the Feast, it's a little more complicated for newer players to get into, which I think is why we see a lot of the time players 10 stacking, DPS, picking up like 200 medals, and people get frustrated, this and that. So yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of expected. I think this answer was kind of expected, that the Feast will be the gold standard moving forward. But I still think they could make some adjustments to the game mode overall that would just make it a little less frustrating, not only for veteran players, but newer players as well, such as maybe nerfing the effect of heavy metal and just make that not as much of the focus, and to prevent like the snowballing that can happen towards like the end of a match.
Okay. Miyuki?
I like the idea of the Fold more than the Feast, because basically of the heavy metal thing, it gives like the other team a chance to come back, I guess, which I guess is a good thing in solo queue. I don't know about like a team play. And also about what Plus One said about how Feast is more complicated, because in the old Den, it was just kill the other team. That was the only objective. Feast has adrenaline boxes, they have kits, they have Wolf's Heart, everything. But if they were to just go back to Fold right now, I don't think it'd work, because back then damage wasn't as high as it was now. Right now damage is like insane if it's coordinated enough. Someone can just die in like a second. So they'd have to do a lot of changes if they want to just go back to the old Den. So I think keeping Feast right now is a good choice.
Okay. And I mean, this is just kind of like I don't know. It's not as more like, hey, am I better at playing this characters? Am I better at playing this character and this mode? Is what it feels like. Do I understand how this mode works? And I think that adds into the whole experience thing, but it doesn't really take a lot of experience to know, hey, I shouldn't stack this many medals, right? Or, hey, I should get the adrenaline because I can one-shot somebody at 4th choline, which is where we're getting to every single match. How many times have you guys had a match without choline recently? Just after 0-6.
Oh, I haven't done too much, but there's been a good few games without choline.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had a single match without choline since 0-6. And I've played like at least like, I don't know, 30 games since it came out. Plus One, have you had any matches without choline?
It's kind of funny because every time I play healer, every single game goes into culling. But then when I'm at DPS, I always, like, for some reason the games are always like 2 lesser experienced healers. So people just die, like the second day you walk out from the game. So yeah.
That's actually really rough right now, is that I'm finding that as soon as you hit like platinum and diamond, you're going to be queued with people, and most of the time it's healers who are a lot weaker.
Absolutely.
And it's rough. Miyu, have you had that?
I've had a couple on Aether. I haven't been playing on Primal as much, but I have gotten a couple of bot healers. So I don't know if those games actually count because they're bots.
Were they actually bots?
Yeah, people have told me they were definitely bots, and they definitely healed like bots. On JP, a lot of my matches on JP go to culling.
Okay.
Especially if there's like 2 really good paladins on both teams, they will probably go to culling 4-5.
Really good
Wasn't
paladins?
That JP strat?
Yeah.
Wasn't that JP strat before Stormblood though?
Yeah.
Huh?
Frosty's eyes light up.
I'm going to JP servers.
JP Paladin, some of them have like, I don't know if they're like predicting stuff, but sometimes when healers get CC'd, they like instantly cover, like as soon as they get CC'd. I don't know how they do it, but they have like crazy reactions. Some of them have crazy reaction times, and some of them just sit on the healer, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. I'm looking at Paladin right now, and like the skill that like it requires to be optimal on it, it seems insane. To actually produce something worthwhile compared to like Dark Knight.
Right. I think Paladin is more common in JP than Dark Knight. I think Dark Knight is the least popular to have experience. It's like Paladin Warrior now.
Huh. All right. Well, shit. Now I need to up my game over here on the NA servers because apparently it's a big thing over there. Yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't really ran into very many bot healers myself in Feast recently. I haven't been encountering a lot of win traders either. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just lucky. I just get bad players.
I have only on Aether. Only on Aether I've come across them.
Really?
Really?
Huh. I don't know.
One was the guy who made the Reddit video, so I was fucked.
Oh,
I came across him on a couple of occasions.
the guy who made the Reddit video?
Yeah, it was the same account. It was the same account. I came across him a few times.
Where you call him a bot healer because he was botting, or?
Yeah, he was buying. You can tell.
All right.
He's been doing it since.
Okay.
He also said people got diamond with the bot, but the bot definitely is not that good. It's not even close.
We came against another bot, and if you just focus that healer, like who's botting, they just stand still. They don't move. They just stand still and just take all that damage to the face. It's like, okay, sound.
I didn't even know about this. Well, there you go. There's that information. God, that sucks. That is depressing as hell. Maybe I just need to heal, guys. We're all all these serious PvP players. We just need to heal now. Just screw everything else. Or play monk and just sit there and kill the healer the entire time. But I've also noticed this weird strategy where people are focusing me as a paladin in shield oath with one stack.
That's just stupid.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's something, honestly, I noticed this season, like starting to happen this season more than the previous ones. I don't know if it's because of the influx of newer players to the Feast or what, because that definitely wasn't a thing that happened often previously, unless the tank was at like 2 stacks or more.
Yeah, 2 stacks, you can start to make sense of that a little bit. But even then, it's not that great because that's what, 24%? And
It cancels out with your tank stance.
Yeah, it cancels out tank stance, but you still have a 5,000 more health.
Right.
All right? Or 4,000 now, but it's okay. Dogs are pissed, dude. They can't believe that shit either. But I mean, it doesn't make any sense to ever go after the tank unless if he gets over 2 stacks. Unless if he's not in shield oath or tank stance, I would think, right?
Unless it's like the dying moments of the game, and that's the only kill that's going to get you the win.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
I also tend to focus tanks a lot when I play Black Mage because I can't go and hit the hit range of the healer because I'm always almost falling back all the time because everyone's just focusing me. So I'll use the tank to get like a proc or something, and then I'll move off. But other than that, I really have no reason to hit the tank unless we need to.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like it's letting me get away without having to use cover, but I'm using cover basically because they're attacking me anyways. All right, so I get the same effect. I'm reducing the damage overall because I have my oath up, and I have way more health. It's really easy to heal me versus healing like a melee or ranged. Okay, sorry. I got super sidetracked again on that. Every single one of these conversations is going into some sort of meta conversation. All right, so the other thing to pull from this, of course, is that they're going to do the team registration and everything else. And they're planning on doing it to where you got 4 to 6 players, right? And then you can go in there, and he gave hints towards other details. And this stuff's supposed to be here in 4.2. So we can assume it's about 4 to 5 months out. That sound right?
Early next year, presumably.
Yeah. So what's 4.15 we're saying?
No, well, this is the
4.2.
team registration one.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this is going to be 4.2 is what he's saying. I think that's not a great idea just because that's when the new PvE content comes out.
Oh, good point. I actually didn't think of that.
Yeah, and so it's exciting to hear that because I would love to have that implemented into the game. But if he's combating the PvE segments with the PvP segments at the exact same time, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I will. Knowing them, they might delay it to 4.25.
Right. That would make sense.
Now, because also with the front line, they're that's coming out 4.15, so it seems like they might start introducing the PvP stuff on like the 05 patches.
Okay. If they do that, that makes perfect sense, because that's when most people are done with the PvE stuff, and then they can move into it. I mean, that kind of makes sense for the new 24 mode as well, or 48-man mode, or whatever they're doing. Is that they're going to release that at the same time that they can't release it at the same time as Super Savage, but hopefully in like a month or so, or a month and a half, people are done with Super Savage, right?
Maybe.
Are you guys?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Hopefully not the day one clears though that we saw with Omega.
Yeah, no. We'll see. I'm excited to see it. I hope people get crushed by it, and they're like, "This is unbeatable right now," and they have to nerf it for people to beat it.
But isn't it all mechanics that we've seen before though? So it's not going to take long.
Maybe. I mean, they could always throw something else in there, right? And they can
It's
combine like dive bombs happening at the same time as towers and all this other stuff, right? No? Yeah, I mean, the combinations of that stuff. But I don't know. Okay, so let's get back into this a little bit later, because I have a actually serious conversation with him, or a serious question about this. Are there plans to bring back light party queue? This is something a lot of people are upset about, because people would rather them just fix it instead of just take it away. But in the end, his response kind of told us it wasn't more just fixing it, it's just because they couldn't handle it. So most players, while they felt like the system was being abused, as it was the main means for serious PvP, most players, while they felt the system was being abused, used it as the main means for serious PvP. Events were held at the 3 recent FanFest player-created events, all dependent on organized 4v4 matchups. What are the current plans for supporting this mode going forward in the future? And his answer was, we have announced this before, but there are a few reasons why we decided to remove this, because we felt that most of the players would focus on PvE in 4.4 or 4.0, sorry, because we greatly changed the PvP system, because we wanted to lessen the number of content that requires matching as much as possible, and because we are currently working on implementing a cross-world custom match feature with patch 4.1. This will return some form in 4.1, so just please wait a little bit longer. So he's saying that one of the main reasons was because he needed to lessen the number of content, or lessen the amount of content that requires matching as much as possible. Does that make sense?
Sounds like an excuse.
Okay, of course Biggs will say it sounds like an excuse. I mean, it makes sense to me because of all the issues we had first, right?
Well,
go ahead.
We all thought it was because the amount of abuse there was in Live Party. That's what everyone thought.
Right.
For him even to touch on that just makes me feel like... But he didn't even comment. He didn't even address that, what you've mentioned about people feel it's due to abuse. Just avoided it. Just fuck me. Just take it on the chin. Your system's shit.
Okay. That's true. I have to say, I did talk about the abuse there. I don't know if that just got lost in translation or what else was happening there, but something...
That's one of the things we need to know. But again, they don't care.
Jesus, Pigs. The new Stefan, man. The new Stefan here. Okay.
Stick it around for that.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Because we felt that most players would focus on PvE with 4.0. We greatly changed the PvP system, and we wanted to lessen it. Yeah, okay. All right. So, I mean, the other thing is that it kind of tunneled everyone into solo queue. And now everyone is being competitive about solo queue, but then they're upset because they're trying really hard in solo queue, and it's all RNG with who you get to play with, right? You could get lucky.
You could get the bot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's true. And so right now, I feel like we're not even in the serious PvP part of Final Fantasy XIV. We're in the practice mode.
Yeah, training wheels are on.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm practicing for when it starts to get a little bit more serious. And it's kind of depressing because I want to rank up and I want to get higher on the board, but the way the system is kind of set up, there's no real way to do that. Miyu, is there a lot of tanks at the top of the board on JP servers?
I actually don't keep up with the rankings. Acid might know, but I don't look at JP rankings at all. I just kind of just play there.
Oh, okay. Hipster. I gotcha. +1. +1. You're kind of quiet over there, dude.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on his response?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of the response, I still think they should have kept the queue system in place, but they should have just took off the leaderboard and the ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Just to, because again, I like there really wouldn't have been that many, like that whole queue system would not be used that often anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd probably be used like a few times a day just for players that want to test out the new system. And I think that would have been helpful in terms of providing feedback, you know, because I think understand the system a lot more when you play light party compared to solo queue, and it's a lot easier to develop feedback and you know, provide it to Square. So yeah, personally, I really would have liked if they kept the queue system in place. I think they should have removed the leaderboard and the ranking just because they weren't moderating it properly at the time. But yeah.
Well, they took it away. They're going to give it back in a different form, right? That's what he said that he's going to bring it back. I don't know if that also means that he's going to bring it back in the form of, hey, here's Light Party now, plus here is the actual tournament games that we're going to be doing, or the serious ranking system we have for Light Party, if that's all supposed to be in one big grouping, or they actually have a practice mode 4v4, then they have the serious stuff.
Yeah, from what I took from it, it seems like the 4.1 is just going to be the crossover customs, and that's going to be the only Light Party until 4.2, which is when they have the full team registration and everything. I think the whole six player per team and that whole concept that he talked about is just going to be what Light Party is going to turn into. Tournaments are just going to be the result of the top teams that, you know, participate in that system.
Yeah. And I feel like them bringing in the system will increase PvP. Just them having it there. People are going to play it more.
Yeah, if they do it right, and I personally have a lot of suggestions that they should probably keep in mind.
Okay, tell me what those suggestions are.
Okay. All right, so there's a few suggestions, not only from myself, but from other players in the community, like Stefan, Nikoza, like a lot of really veteran players of the game. And I think with the 6-player system, there should be a rule that any rating you receive is strictly tied to your team. So that once it's registered, no new players can join the team. Players can only leave or disband the team.
Yeah.
And if they leave or disband it, their rating would start at 0 again. So again, any rating is strictly tied to the team that you're on. And this is mainly to prevent, you know, people swapping out players, abusing the system, trying to inflate their, you know, point gain, stuff like that. The other thing is they should make the Light Party queue only available during certain days and hours of the week. Because since the player population isn't that big, we have run into issues in the first 4 seasons of Light Party where there were players queuing or teams queuing at off hours, like at 6 a.m. in the morning, and win trading, you know, and it just went completely unchecked. So if they restricted to certain days and hours of the week, like let's just say Fridays and Saturdays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for Aether and Primal, for example, that would prevent a lot of those issues. The other thing they should do is when the Light Party queue pops, the queue must be accepted, or else the team that doesn't accept loses rating automatically.
Yeah. That actually makes sense to me.
Yeah, and this is to prevent things like queue sniping cross server, which we've seen, a lot. And then finally, the last suggestion, I promise, is during the last week of the season, and this is if they keep the whole blackout week thing, which to those watching who don't know, during the last week of the season, they remove the online leaderboards, and it just kind of freezes until the season's officially over. So you kind of have no idea what's going on. And I guess they do it to kind of build suspense. But at the same time, that can kind of be abused because we've seen players sneak in, cheating and win trading during that week because it doesn't show up on the leaderboard. So during that last week of the season, if they want to keep blackout week, only the top 8 teams or so should be allowed to queue. And this is to prevent, again, like any teams coming out of nowhere, being farmed or whatever.
Depends on how many people. I think that would be a percentage more. If there's a lot of teams out there playing, and there should be if they seem like legitimate teams, they should be able to queue still. But
definitely.
Those sound like really good suggestions. I don't know. The whole blackout week thing seems kind of odd to me. It's an interesting idea, but I never really understood it being a great benefit versus just leaving it up there.
Yeah, because again, it's really dependent on them properly policing the system. But if they've had challenges moderating it, then blackout week shouldn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. So +1, those are all super great ideas, and if they could get those implemented in there, I think everybody would be a little bit more confident with playing that and keeping up with it. Because in the end, no one wants to go to a official Square Enix tournament where half the players are just people who are mediocre players that win traded to get to the top of the boards, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus, Biggs, you look like you're just holding in some stuff.
Oh. That sigh.
Let it out.
One second.
Oh, you gotta adjust his position.
I agree with the blackout week. We've seen it abused on Chaos. Remove it. People didn't notice until I think someone mentioned it, and then we actually looked back into it and someone had a picture they had saved of before blackout week, and yeah, something definitely dodgy stuff does go happen on blind week, even on a light party, like one person just randomly plus 500 on their own. How did that happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's annoying. And these are supposedly people that people once thought they could trust, and now they know that they can't. Even people out there you think you can trust, that are part of the community for ages. Not even them you can trust these days, it seems.
Can't trust me.
Nope.
Nope, I'm untrustable. I got you.
I don't know, definitely don't agree with blind week because they don't monitor it. If it was monitored, fair enough, but if they're not going to monitor it, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Or the only thing I probably wouldn't, I don't see SE doing from what Plus said or +1 is only the top 8 teams queuing. I don't see them doing that, but the others, I'd love to see put in.
Yeah, that's more if they want to keep blackout week. If they remove blackout, then they don't even need to do that. But that's
or just monitor.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be. I don't see how it's so hard. I just don't get it.
I think that's definitely something that just has to be invested into, and I don't know. I literally wish I could just sit down and be in a room with Yoshida for a couple hours and just talk.
He'll still judge the question.
I don't think
even in the same room, he'll still judge it. He'll give you a different answer.
Yeah, but then you would respond, "Hey, well, I don't know if I completely agree with this. This is
Sorry,
why."
I don't speak English.
Come on, Biggs. You'd be the worst person to ever talk to any official people because you just shit all over them. They'd be like,
"Why don't you do your job?"
You'd be like, "Hey, Yoshida, why don't you do your job? Yoshida, why do you suck at PvP?" Yoshida.
I didn't say he sucked. I've never seen him. I can't just say that.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we just need to have a conversation. It needs to. The communication is building. I have to say this. There is positive communication happening within the community going towards Square Enix. And I don't know if you've seen it, Biggs. I've seen it.
Say again.
There's a higher communication. Like, people are always complaining, hey, I post stuff in the forums, it never gets responded to. I post all this stuff. But stuff is getting responded to right now. Have you seen that at all, Biggs?
No, I don't go on there.
Okay.
I'll get banned.
I got you. But I have heard from a lot of people that a lot of stuff is getting responded to, and the information is being taken and is being pushed or over to where it needs to be. It's at that point, it's kind of like up to Square Enix. Huh?
Is it from the right people though? Is it Reddit people or what?
It's from the official forums, I think, mostly. I think that, the Reddit's getting, monitored as well. Everybody has to look at the opinions and everything. So we just have to, I don't know. I know people are uninspired. Go ahead.
Who posted monks get nerfed?
Who posted monks? Everybody posted monks get nerfed, Pigs.
The bastards.
Yeah.
Elite monk.
Yeah. Miyuki, do you pay attention to anything that happens within the Japanese community at all? Or do you just...
No, I can't read anything. I just copy, paste it to my Japanese friend, and I'm like, can you translate this?
Nice.
One thing about the late party thing, though. I want to know what Biggs and Plus think about alts. Because I think that you should only be allowed to register one character per data center, if not one character per account on a team.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people, because especially since alts are level 30, you can PvP on alts level 30 now. People would just make alts on one team and just trade off, boosting each other or something.
I agree.
They still won't monitor it.
Come on, Biggs. But yeah, no, you would basically... That makes perfect sense. It'd be per account, but then again, people can make multiple accounts.
Right.
In that same setup, but it would reduce it.
How it should be for any rated feast is you should only be able to rank up one character per data center per account.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they're taking this into account, though. I hadn't even considered that, but this isn't something that I reckon they'd take into account. This probably hasn't even passed their mind.
Yeah.
Well, post it on the forums, man, Biggs. You're banned, though, aren't you?
No, I don't think so. Oh, no. No, a sec. Let's try it. Let's make a post right now.
Okay, make a post right now. All right, let's go on to this other question. And this goes exactly into what you said, Biggs, and you're going to get pissed off. I'm ready for it. The question is, one of the biggest complaints I receive from PvPers is towards what they feel is a lack of moderation. Players who abuse the system in such ways as queuing in with the intention to lose as fast as possible in order to get the reward or hurt another's rank go seemingly unpunished. This makes it difficult to take competitive mode seriously when players' seedy situations occur. Are there any plans to combat this or increase the moderation of abuse? Or, making sure people don't abuse as much, right? Okay. So, how red can your face get, Biggs?
How red?
Yeah.
Guess can get red, aye.
Okay. So in this, it's okay. Yoshida said this issue is extremely tough to tackle. We investigate every time we receive a report, but in many cases aren't as extreme as the users describe them in the reports. As it relates to PvP, competition can become heated, and the reports can sometimes be exaggerated, so we cannot take it at face value. We thoroughly investigate things like conversations and action logs and deal with players if we do discover a problem. This is why it would be greatly appreciated if we receive level-headed and detailed focused feedback as much as possible. We also plan to invest more resources into supervising these ethical issues. Okay, so Biggs disagrees with all that. 100%, right?
Zero.
Huh?
More of zero is zero.
Okay, so the thing is, we don't feel that on our side at all. I know a lot of people, again, and this goes into the GM team that's over here. There's been a lot of reports, and I see it all the time. People are posting screenshots. This is my conversation with the GM. This is what they said. And it's always something that seems like it's not good enough of an answer. Like, oh, well, this guy's probably not cheating because that wouldn't make sense if they cheated this way. For example, explaining win trading. There's been some pretty bad responses on that. Plus one. Give me your thoughts first. I want to talk to you a little bit about what he said about this and kind of how you feel about that.
Yeah, so I guess it's more kind of a general response, but SE should really take cheating and win trading very seriously, like more so than they're doing now. Solo queue at the moment is like the standard of competitive play, just because it's really the only option that has a leaderboard. So if cheating and win trading is happening there, it doesn't exactly paint the best picture of what PvP is really all about moving forward. Especially if they want to get into, again, like tournaments and stuff like that. Not to mention, it can really turn off new players and veteran players from the feast altogether. Like I already know several players that have just quit altogether because they just don't want to deal with that. And they shouldn't have to deal with that. Like if you queue into a match with 2 win trading healers, it's not fun if you get paired with them several games in a night, because you just lose rating and it's frustrating and people just don't like that. So I'd really advise for them to reconsider the policy that goes into handling reports, because I almost feel like that might be part of the issue too, is just whatever company policy they have. So if they could reform it to something that's more effective and efficient at dealing with cheaters and abusers, that would be a lot more helpful, because it almost seems to me like GMs might just have their hands tied when it comes to taking action in that area.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it as well, is that there's just something that doesn't really add up on the, at least NA side of all of this. I don't know if this it's different over on the JP side, where JP players just sit there and they just say this person's cheating and there's no way that person was cheating, and that's a common thing over there. It's just such a depressing situation, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are going around and they are doing things, and I feel like most of the community believes that nothing's really being done about this. Maybe they need to post stuff on there. They do that post about, hey, we've banned this many bots, we've done this much. Put in there like that we've done this much with PvP stuff. All right, show some evidence that there's something going out there, because right now players, I don't know if we have a single report of someone getting banned outside of calling someone a bad name.
Well,
we know of people that have been banned for win trading, and there was that one summoner, to my knowledge, but they're one-offs. We're in the 5th season. There's 10 times more people.
Right. I know in season 3 Light Party, someone posted a screenshot. I think it was in the Primal chat and Tryhard Discord. It was like an email saying that this account is no longer eligible for season 3 rewards at the feast, because they got so many reports of them win trading in Light Party. Because they go, one of the days they went like plus 1,000 points or something, like 3 players, and it was just baffling that they didn't do anything until like 3 hours before the season ended. And also about the GM reports, I heard that players who are actually like making accounts or characters on different servers and telling people, like wanting to give them help, are getting reported for harassment, and they're actually getting like suspended for wanting to help players. So I don't know how they deal with reports, because it kind of seems half and half to me.
So you're saying that, like, if someone plays a match and they notice someone on this other server that they can't talk to right now is doing badly, and then they make a character on the server that player's on to say, hey, look, the match didn't go well, here's some things to let you know, here's some tips, they get banned or they get warned?
They can get reported for harassment, yeah. That's what I've just been reading, people just being like, yeah, careful about giving help, because that's reportable for harassment.
Well, I mean, I guess it would depend on how they present that too.
Right.
Right. If they go in there and say, hey, you're an idiot, you need to learn how to not 10 stack. That's kind of harassment. I mean, it's being very aggressive, but you have to go in there and say, hey, look, I just want to tell you, in standard strategy, you don't 10 stack, right? I don't know how you would make that sound nice. Honestly, I don't know how to make that sound nice. But yeah, that makes sense somewhat, but I can't see them banning someone, because I do that, right? every once in a while, I try to reach out to people because I feel like we need to create the community and grow it. I go over there and say, hey, are you kind of new? And I know that comes off wrong, right? Are you a newer player?
Right.
Or I try to phrase the question, hey, are you into Feast? Do you like Feast? And try to meld it into something that isn't harassment, I guess. So I can actually go out there and try to improve this player, make him an active player, and make him someone that people would be like, oh yeah, great, I'm queuing up with this guy. Although everyone like cusses when they queue up with me because they're like, oh, it's a fucking paladin. But I mean, other than that, it's I don't know. That seems weird. So we're all in agreement right here that we should make sure. Well, we shouldn't do anything. Is that the GMs and the moderation has to improve? And the answer to this question seems a little short. Like it didn't really live up to the kind of it. I honestly took it to a point where I thought he didn't take what I said seriously. That's what I felt, and that's sad because I hate to say that, but I that's what I really felt, and I wish that's why I want to have that conversation with him. I'm like, hey, look, this isn't as what's the right word for this? Dismissible.
This was the answer I wanted.
Say that again.
It wasn't the answer I wanted. What are you going to do?
It was. That's not exactly. Well, yeah, okay. That's not the answer I wanted. No, it was the answer. He said, okay, so at the end of it, he said, we plan to investigate and plan to invest more resources into supervising these ethical issues. Now we just kind of hope that that's going to happen, right?
Yeah, hope that they ban the person trying to help people and ban the people that are doing the dodgy stuff.
I'm almost not sure if Yoshi's fully aware of what's going on in NA, like regarding these cheaters.
I mean, that's what it seems like. And I've met Yoshida, right? I've seen him on multiple occasions. He's always a great guy. I mean, that's just who he is. That's his public face, right? I mean, he's a good guy. I've never had any issues with him. He's given me, this is my second interview with him right now. This answer sounds like he doesn't understand what's happening.
Yeah, and like part of that would make sense since Miyuki said that there isn't as much, cheating and win trading going on over at JP.
Right, Miyuki?
Right.
So I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Biggs. I heard you for a second.
Some fun.
Oh, okay. No, this has to be what it is. He has to be unaware of what's happening because the way that this responds, no one can take this as like a serious response. Everyone either takes it offensively or feel that there's a misunderstanding here. There has to be, because there's no way that the billions and billions of situations, and over exaggeration of course, but that are happening with win trading, with people cheating in multiple different ways, could be glossed over as much as that was glossed over in that response. So I feel like that's the number one thing that we got to do. We got to figure out why he doesn't know this is happening. But either way, that's what I'm taking from that. And thank you, +1.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this next one here, which is another hot topic. This is the Feast conversation, right? Players are still having a hard time communicating properly in solo queue. While quick chat features help, it doesn't accommodate the proper communication that needs to occur to help grow the PvP community, especially with new players. While a few players present toxic behavior, may discourage, a few players present toxic behavior that may discourage others. Being unable to properly communicate seems to discourage players even more. Due to being unable to advance strategies and grow a meta with proper coordination. Can we expect some form of bringing back Feast Chat in the near future for those who utilize it properly? Utilize. And Biggs, was that a good question?
Yeah, the answer was shit.
Okay. All right. So the answer he gives is, of course, going against chat. It says, I completely understand that it would be better for advanced PvP players to use the full chat functions. However, the data clearly shows that a greater number of players, new players, have joined the content after we removed the chat functions. This is a fact that we cannot dispute. From this, we can tell how harsh language was becoming an impediment to new players and hurting their participation. I believe that this change is something that is inevitable, not only for Final Fantasy XIV, but for all PvP games. On the other hand, it might be good to bring back full chat functions for custom matches, of course, and a random 4v4 practice matches outside of ranked matches, as it would allow for players to discuss and develop deeper strategies. It is possible to separate chat functions between ranked matches and practice matches, so it would be great if we could continually receive feedback on this. Okay, so I'm just going to grab what I can from this for sure. One is...
Nice. About the Gara event.
Yeah. I don't know if... that's the response, right? Garo came out at the same time Feast Chat was removed. It's hard to say, hey, Feast Chat was the reason more people came, because...
You added free mounts that were easy to get from Garo.
Yeah. But again, the mounts were easier to get. I forget how the mounts even worked.
10 wins in front lines, 30 wins in Feast, and 60 wins across both.
So 30 wins in Feast, and then they're done. They don't come back to Feast, is what I would think, with the Garo event being the main motivation.
Well, they could if they want to get all the titles, because you need wolf marks to get the gear.
Mm-hmm. So, but you could get the wolf marks from Frontline. Right. So,
but if they want to do Feast, if they happen to prefer it, then
then you can also get the airship mount from Feast as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but that's been in there for a while, right?
If they were new to it, because they're bringing new people in, and there's the two minions as well. I think, were they there at that point?
Oh,
I don't think they were.
Yeah.
I don't think they were, because Garo event started mid-season 3, right? And
that's right. Yes,
they weren't there. Season 3 rewards were the pets, right?
Yeah.
So I can kind of see. I don't have those metrics. We don't have those metrics, but we can assume that okay, well, yeah, Garo is happening. That's going to increase people, because that obviously increased people coming to Feast.
Oh
and
yeah.
Everything else that obviously brought more people, because people had more cosmetic things to deal with. Everybody wanted that armor, right? It looked like a Power Ranger. That's part of what it was, and so everybody wanted to go and do that, and unfortunately it happened at the same time they removed Feast, so it's hard to compare those two things. What you can kind of grasp from that is Feast chat is something that is a constant. The mount, once you get it, you don't need to do Feast anymore, but the Feast chat thing is a constant that either keeps people in or removes people from it. And so I think in their idea was, hey, I'm releasing the Garo event. More people are going to come in to do Feast. I want people to stay. So that's why they removed Feast Chat. That was the thinking. We can assume that, right? Because they thought that Feast Chat was making people not want to play. Or new players, at least. Right?
Yeah, well,
that's
half and half.
That's the line of thinking when they were bringing out this new Garo event is, hey, I'm removing Feast Chat, because if they start Feast and Biggs gets in there and calls them a wanker, like in the first 2 seconds, right?
A what?
A wanker? Is that right? Is that? I'm trying to speak British. Is that right?
Oh.
A wank?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh.
But no, if you like. And that's the first thing that happens, and they just get lots of negative impressions from that. I understand that. It makes sense kind of in a business decision. You're introducing a whole bunch of new people to it, and if these people are having to deal with that, maybe they won't stay in Feast. But they think that this is a way to keep people continuously playing Feast, right? Does that make sense on a business decision?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
It
give
makes
them a
sense.
tissue.
There is also a 93 and I'm not exaggerating. I actually had to pull it up to verify a 93-page forum thread specifically advising to bring the feast chat back. 93 pages.
Yeah. 93 pages. People are actually going out there and saying that. And this is the last time I asked this question, he did say, hey, I was going to post something on the forum. I was kind of upset because I don't think he ever did get something posted on the forum after that. And I don't know if that's just because he got overloaded with whatever else, benefit of the doubt. But this is the response that we have on the feast chat right now. And I think at this point, solo queue is never getting chat back. Never.
Yeah, safe to say.
I agree. Yeah.
It's never getting it.
Yeah. And at this point, we have to understand if we want to still be competitive and we want to still enjoy Feast and we can deal with the Feast chat not being there, that's part of the strategy now, is how to still win with the lack of Feast chat. Outside of voice comms, right? Voice comm cheaters. No one does that
Honestly,
anymore, though.
From my point of view, the feast chat actually helps JP a lot. It's actually really useful. But NA, I haven't found absolutely no use for the quick chat feature. JP was great.
Oh, yeah?
They do like this. The melee does this like countdown. They have a target marked 5, and it like counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with the target markers, and then they'll say everyone attack, which is when they're bursting. That's when you CC the healer, you just hit the target. In Primal, Aether, EU, I've never seen that, never. And if I do see it, people try to do it, and the other DPS just doesn't notice it, so they just keep hitting the target.
I did it, and the other DPS thought I was taking the piss out of them and trolling them. And now they seem to think I have a big issue with that.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Also, it definitely helps me as an English speaker. I don't speak JP, so if they didn't have the quick chat, I wouldn't be able to understand anything they were saying.
That's true.
So it helps in that regard, but I don't see it's just not as useful if you're not playing on the JP data centers.
I mean, I think these are things we just got to adopt at some point, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking is that, like, at this point, Feast chat will exist in structured. Hey, I'm sitting here. Even when he said he was going to take it away in ranked 4v4, when they do that, it doesn't matter. You got voice chat. That's perfectly fine. All right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the end, when we're dealing with solo queue, it's just nice job is what you're going to deal with. I mean, that's all we got.
One thing I would like them to add to the feast chat macros is to actually be able to use those in a macro. Because you can't macro those abilities right now, and you just kind of have to set them to keybind or something, and then click your macro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't. As far as I know, there is no macro command to use like the quick chat commands.
Yeah, I don't know. I at this point, we have to find systems that work with waymarks. Like Para runs around and he waymarks himself the entire time. I don't know why he's doing it. I think he's just trying to say where he's at. Is that right?
Yeah, and then make sure his team falls back like close to where they are, so that they don't just like line of sight or whatever.
Yeah, and so these little systems we just kind of have to put in place ourselves, almost.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to deal with it in solo queue, and that's going to be part of the strategy. The people who can communicate the best with Feast Chat and what they have, the tools they have, will do a little bit better. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's pretty dead set on it staying there, but again, we're getting the ability to chat cross server soon.
Oh, the toxic stuff.
I am like, I have a lot of friends. I like that, but I feel like other people are going to use it to just shit on people.
Yeah, but you got Blacklist, right?
I mean, well, we have Blacklist for cross server too, right? So if that was the case, they could just bring the feast chat back, and if they got like badmouthed by someone mid-game, they could just blacklist, but I don't think it's going to help.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the only thing that's not being able to communicate. Yeah, you're right. But then again, screw it. I've accepted it now. I'm not fighting it anymore, guys. Feast chats, it's gone for solo queue. 100%. And they are very, very behind keeping it down. And they believe for sure that this is something that should happen, and this could be true. Maybe it is something that's good for the JP servers, and like it just doesn't translate to us very well. But let's just I'm going to have to play the games now, and I'm going to set up like a ton of macros. I'm going to do countdown macros as a tank, right?
Right, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm just going to deal with it because that's what I'm getting the response of, and I might not be super happy about it, but I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, my personal suggestion, if I could give them one, it would be that if they're 100% set on having it restricted in some way, then at least allow phrases and words from the auto translate system to be used.
And then you'd use it to say lewd things still.
Oh yes.
I don't think you really.
They could have some fun with it.
Oh, you can say some really.
Oh, you can yeah. Trust me, I know. I've been on Balmont.
Well, then they can kind of edit that like as it goes along. But the thing is, like that I mean, with that database, I think it's it's not as flexible as typing whatever you want. I think it would be way more efficient than the current quick chat system,
right?
While still keeping it, pretty clean of toxicity.
Nah. I mean, it's something they could definitely try. I mean, my idea was like, hey, if people are horrible and they harass, just ban them from talking.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the other thing. I think Stefan had a suggestion too, where if they did bring Feast back, like as it was, to have a system where like abusers will have the ability to chat taken away from them after they get reported enough times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might help, Stefan.
I think he also said something about like a low priority queue, where like you have to play like this many games before you can chat in party chat anymore.
Yeah, I think the harassment, ban would be, the silence would be a little bit better. It just makes sense, and I agree with Stefan on that. It just makes sense. Like if they're already going to ban them anyways. Why ban their entire account when you could just ban them from talking and Feast? They still play, and then you're done, and everybody's happy. Okay. So the other thing here is he did say 4v4 practice matches outside of ranked matches. So I feel like they are going to bring light party practice matches.
Or is he just saying the custom matches?
I thought those were the custom matches.
You think that's to translate to custom matches?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm
he said
pretty sure
random 4v4 practice matches.
Then, yeah, the game does need it. The custom won't work for practice.
Yeah, because
you've got to set the team up.
Yeah. On the other hand, it might be good to bring back full chat functions for custom matches and random 4v4 matches. So, that means that there are going to be probably, maybe they'll get rid of APA, guys. And they just have 4v4.
That's what people use to farm their achievements.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So that's where I'm kind of reading that from. We might have and it's weird because we have if we do all these different modes and everything else, it's going to be kind of, it means that light party isn't going to come back in a ranked way anymore, unless if it's in the tournament style that they're planning to do, the rating, the serious team registration style that they're planning to do. They'll have practice matches though, and I feel like that's necessary to have a 4v4 random structured match versus getting the same people together all the time, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure honestly how popular it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in the first 4 seasons when there was party queue, it wasn't particularly active.
Right. Maybe it'll be more active once they have serious rewards behind.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, the crossover customs I think is 100% necessary, no doubt about that. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I wish I'm wrong, about the random queue not being active. Of course, it would be great for it to be active because we really need more players investing into light party.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see, because light party is where it's going to get. Not screw it. Feast chat doesn't matter anymore if you have structured light party, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's a high chance there's a structured light party. They're in voice chat already.
Yeah, you're going to be in voice chat. Why would you try to communicate otherwise?
Well, Not every team would use it, but the majority would.
The ones that aren't on the bottom will be using it. Coordination is everything in Feast, man. Everything.
Nope. QG, Hacky, never used it. Probably the best team in Chaos never used voice chat.
Really?
Really?
They must not be a good team.
No, the best team in Chaos.
EU
never
versus
used
NA.
it.
Let's do it.
Okay, you play. They don't play anymore.
Okay. All right. The next one here is another one that people are actually talking about a lot, which is adding more stuff like actions, right? So one of the major successes to bringing more players into PvP could be contributed to simplifying abilities, actions, traits, and the overall system. Although some more seasoned PvP players are having a hard time adjusting to the lack of depth currently and believe it went a little too far. Their opinions usually suggest with the addition of one or two more abilities per job, it could add a much needed extra level of skill. Do you have any plans on adding more abilities for jobs that seem to be lacking or hitting a skill ceiling too early? So, was that a good question, guys? That's pretty good.
I think it was good, yes.
Because we talked about this a lot, and I want to make sure that we got this across. Okay, he said, I believe that the new PvP system we introduced in 4.0 was able to pave the way for a great future for PvP. Of course, we do not think that it is perfect or finalized. We plan to make adjustments and additions to the content as we read player feedback. At this time, those who have experienced and mastered the new features of 4.0 PvP are only a portion of the highest ranked players. We want to increase the number of experienced users with this current season and aim to create much more exciting PvP content as we move forward. There are possibilities that we will add new actions, and it would be great if we can receive detailed feedback on what actions you think would be great for it to have for each job. So, he's saying that it is possible they'll add more, and he is looking for player feedback on it. I already see the quotes in chat in regards to this. But I mean, it all really boils down to this. We just have to give our feedback and put our trust that it's going to happen. And if not, then it's, what else can we do, right?
Nothing.
Okay. Biggs, tell me something. You're a monk, all right? You're a monk. You're sitting there, you're playing. What else do you need for monk to be more in-depth and interesting?
Some more buttons.
Some more buttons.
What buttons do you need, Biggs, to make it more interesting?
Steel Peak.
Steel Peak.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants the stun.
Stun. All right. Do you think all the DPS should have some way to CC?
Well, in a way, yeah, because let's say you're going against a team which has the ninja, you got, let's say, the paladin, and the bard. That's three people who go to CC, and if your other team does not have, say, your bard, doesn't have your ninja, you're lacking so much CC compared to the other team. It needs to spread it out a bit more across the jobs. It's not fair. Machinists too. It's ridiculous how a team can have 3 members who can CC and the other team can have just 1.
It's true. But I mean, like, I guess the idea would be that those DPS would have a little bit less DPS, all right?
Right.
A little bit less burst.
Yeah, that's what happened to Ninja.
The ninja is actually. Do you guys feel like ninja is pretty much going to be the top melee?
No.
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 No. Not at all.
I don't think so. I think it's still difficult to play, honestly, comparatively to Monk.
Yeah, because if Biggs can play Monk, then I'm guessing like anybody can play Monk, right? Just kidding, Biggs. All right, so you want to stun. That's what your suggestion is for more buttons, Biggs.
Yeah, nice start.
Okay, all right.
Elixir Field, Howling Fist.
All right.
Roll it in.
+1. Tell me something that you would add to the system. To add more depth to a certain job that you feel needs it.
It's okay. So it's like kind of hard to suggest stuff now because the meta is so different. But like, and like what I'm about to say, people are probably going to hear and be like, oh no, like because then it would be super OP. But I'm kind of looking more towards like the whole picture rather than how it is right now. But like for example, like on Black Mage, I personally do not like the playstyle anymore because you're so reliant on sitting there and turreting, a player and hoping that your healer keeps you up. And I think before, part of the magic was being really good with your CC, cycling your heavies from Blizzard, cycling your binds from Blizzard 2. And now you don't do any of that. You just cast fire or foul or flare or Blizzard 4 and you just teleport around. But what it's really missing now is just a lot of that depth that it had before, where you're focused on your CC and you're focused on keeping players away from you. And now that dynamic just isn't there anymore. So I guess from that, I would say that classes could use more additional CC. Of course, maybe not in their current state, because if you just add CC to every job, it would make it a little too strong as it is right now. But yeah, it's kind of tough to say because it would require, because if you give every job CC, you have to kind of rebalance how the damage output works or how the healing output works of the game overall.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought that they could change up Feast right now to give everyone more power. Everyone just has more power. Tanks can CC a lot more. DPS do a lot more damage. Healers do a lot more healing. And if you ramp these up, then CC becomes more powerful because you're stopping more damage. You're stopping more healing. Damage becomes more powerful because if you can avoid the CC properly, or you can do what you need to do on your job, you can actually get a kill. You can burst and get a kill on your own, and then you become someone who could rank up and get on the ladder a little bit easier. And if you're really good at healing, you can, but you have to avoid CC, and you have to heal like ridiculous amounts of damage. And so it just makes it into a more fast-paced game, right? You just have burst of heals, burst of damage, and burst of CC.
Well, the issue with that is it's not fun having someone's health go from 100 to 10 back to 100 just constantly. You know, it's not like that in most games, unless you're like FPS. But it because then it doesn't really make it fun for anybody, and it actually makes it a lot harder to get into, because like if you want a Q healer, and like this is kind of how it was before when season 5 started, lesser experienced healers would like go in and their ranged would get globaled by a monk before their action even goes off, and they wonder like what the heck happened. So yeah, there has to be a balance where it's not spiky burst damage where people are people's health are just going all over the place.
So how do you fix it to where DPS can become more of a value to whether you win or lose?
They have to have a toolkit that other roles can't provide.
Besides just damage that they do.
Outside of damage, yeah.
Right.
Okay. So what can you even think of what that toolkit would be?
One example for me is season 1 through 4. Machinist had every CC. they just peeled the melee over and over. Same with Black Mage, which made Machinist more common than Bard, because Bard had like nothing. So not necessarily give them more CC, but I really don't know what they can do. They just need to be able to do more for the team rather than just damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right, Miyu. Go ahead, +1.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't have to just be CC. It can also be like party buffs and stuff like that. That not only because what the current system is really missing in terms of DPS, especially, is like player individuality. Because there's only really one way of executing your rotation for like most classes, you know, whereas before in like 3.0, like if you look at like Dragoon, for example, you know, you could look at like the top 10 Dragoons worldwide. Each of them had a slightly different way of dishing out damage. They all had a slightly different placement of their abilities because there were just more abilities and there was more customization to how you can execute things. And that just doesn't really exist anymore, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So hopefully we'll see a little bit. All right. We're never going to get to the point that we were before, ever. And I think that's not a bad thing, just because it was kind of ridiculous to have your entire PvE hotbar where you have 3 rows of like buttons that you have to manage and kind of deal with, and trying to apply that to PvP with all the little differences that are in all those different things. I mean, you figure it out after a while, but it makes the entry level very, very difficult. Super difficult. It becomes a very niche community, which is exactly what it was, right?
Right.
Miyu, give me some actions.
I want the heavy back on Black Mage Blizzard, honestly. And the other one is Astrologian Rescue. I feel like Rescue compared to like Protect or Eye for an Eye, Aura Blast, Rescue is very weak. It has very specific uses in like certain situations. The only time I've really found it useful is if I have like a bard or a machinist, and I see the other monk pop Riddle of Fire, and I just pull them towards me and just like stop their burst for that small period of time. But also, I think Astro need a more reliable MP regen tool. Because if they draw an Ewer and then they use Ewer, that's 3,500 MP, which is good. But the Ewer is like, I think it's a 25% chance that you draw the Ewer. And if you draw it at the beginning of the match, it's completely useless.
Right. Okay. Now you guys all need to type it up and put it on the forums. All right. Oh, okay. So, I mean, there is a little bit of hope in that comment. And I think that's kind of the theme of a lot of these comments, is each one is like lined with some sort of hope, right? That it will go in some direction.
Yeah, I mean, other than the chat one, it seems like he's trying to keep the door open, you know, to possibility.
Yeah. Because things do change, but these chat's not going to change. That's not. Okay, we got a couple more questions here. And this is pretty much already answering something that we talked about earlier, but the question was, members of the PvP community who in the past have played the Feast and the Fold on a very competitive level and highly skilled level have mentioned being discouraged in continuing to play. Their main concern is that they feel there is nothing to look forward to in terms of rewarding competitions, such as official PvP events, or something similar to bring Final Fantasy XIV into the esports scene. Is there anything that you could tell these players who might be discouraged? His answer was, I briefly mentioned this in one of my previous answers, but we are steadily making progress in preparing for official tournaments and other events. We are currently prioritizing receiving feedback on competitive element as the PvP system has changed quite a bit. We are also preparing for team registrations and hope to finish both tasks simultaneously. The community that everyone created is dear to us. All right, I'm going to say this again. All right, Biggs. All right. The community that everyone has created is dear to us. Okay?
Bullshit.
Okay. All right, Biggs. I want you to take that in and absorb it and try to believe, okay? And because of that, we are making sure to prepare for the future. It's almost ready, so please look forward to these coming editions. So, Biggs.
Yep.
I gotta ask you this question. All right? And you gotta say this in the most constructive way possible. All right?
Okay.
How can Square Enix get on the good side of jaded players like yourself? Constructively. No memes.
No memes.
Okay.
It's going to be difficult. Just give us something to believe in, pretty much. Show that the actually doing something, because it looks like they're not. To get like my belief back, you got to be actually doing something, because it doesn't look like they do.
Okay.
Until like I see them doing something, I've got no faith in them.
Okay. So you want to see things like cheating. You want to see something happen. You want to see, oh my god, this guy's been banned.
They haven't got a name and shame it, because I don't expect that from them ever.
Right.
But just to say, right, we are taking the reports seriously, and we can see that they are. They can say, right, we've removed X amount of players from Feast rankings due to XY activities. They're win trading, they're botting. To make some sort of announcement saying, right, we are doing something. This is what we've done this week or this month or whatever. Mm-hmm. Not. It's all through word of mouth. Oh, this guy got banned, but it took like 500 million tickets and a season later.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Like part of that too is, it as like a lot of players don't feel like they're doing anything, because we've like, at least on Aether, there have been win traders that are still around and are still doing it in season 5 that have been doing it in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're still there. They haven't left. They haven't, gotten banned without people knowing. Like, no, they're like still participating. So, yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Like they really need to take more action and show that they're taking action.
Okay. All right, Biggs. Do you have another way that they can save you from your jade?
Well, another way, they just need to step up. As I'm saying, like,
okay.
People have been win traders in season 1, and the only ones are, I think, am I right in saying some JP win traders at the very start of Feast, like season 1 or 2, got removed. And in Chaos, we've had one group removed, but that's because they were stupid enough to admit it in link shells, what they were doing. But other than that, I don't believe anyone else has been banned for win trading.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to...
But it's obvious. Surely they can see this team always plays this team at 4 a.m. They're both 50% win rate. Must be legit. Just grow some balls and ban them.
Okay. All right. So right now, we got to... If we want something to happen within the community, we have to... And we have done it. I know this has been done, right? We have gone and made very nice, formulated responses and given suggestions and very detailed information on the forum, right? We've gone and we've done lots of this stuff, and we haven't seen a lot of responses from it. But we can't reduce it to the point to where we're just like memeing and we're joking and we're just and we're giving suggestions without any serious thought or explanation behind it. Because those will never be taken seriously. Ever. Biggs, you'll never be taken seriously, man.
It's life.
Yeah. But in the end, when the time comes and they're like, wow, something is wrong here, and they go to try to fix it, and it's all just people talking shit, and it's not like any kind of constructive feedback at all, I can't imagine how they would respond, right? Right? Okay, all right. You don't have to shake your head just because I said right really loud, Biggs. You can say. Who can say?
I just gotta step up.
They got step it up. Okay, so that's the thing that we need to see is just that constant communication, which I do think I see an incline on it.
Yeah, they made 3 forum posts in like 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, they made. See, there you go, Biggs. Come on, man. You got to be the positive charge behind this. Biggs is the player that we got to change. All right, if we can change Biggs' mentality here and his negativity, we can change the entire community. Yeah?
Nah.
But seriously, yeah, no, in the end, we just have to do that. I know it sucks, but what else are we going to do?
Uninstall.
Uninstall, yeah. I mean, stop playing. That's one for sure. God damn it. All right, so I left this last question here. And this last question here is pretty much it was supposed to be a soft question. All right, a very soft question to say, hey, outside of Final Fantasy XIV PvP, what is your favorite PvP content? And Yoshida says that he's been only playing Overwatch
Says it all.
Yeah. And he was mainly focused on Riesling 4.0, so that's the only thing that he would have in any PvP experience with outside of that, because he couldn't play more games. I did finally start playing Splatoon 2, and I did want to play PUBG, Player
PUBG.
Unknown's Battlegrounds.
PUBG, yeah.
PUBG. There you go. Thank you. I never played a game. I'm not into that crowd. But I think that's something that a lot of people have been playing a lot recently. He said he was hesitant to play it because he feels like he has been too engulfed. He will become too engulfed by it, and that might actually interfere with the development. Ha ha ha. That's me imitating a laugh. I'm sorry. That was bad. I wonder if that's okay for me to take that kind of time to play after we pass our 4th anniversary. So I think that's interesting just because for some reason, I never imagined Yoshida playing Overwatch. I mean, do you guys think about that?
Not really.
Yeah. Can you guys imagine that? Like Yoshida just sitting there playing like Tracer or something, running around just shooting people and just jumping back? No?
Nah, the game has chat.
It does have chat. Yeah.
Hurt his feelings.
Yeah. And so I don't think that, from what I hear, that a lot of people don't actually use the chat feature on the JP servers for Overwatch. Or is there JP servers for Overwatch, or is it just one? No. God, how does Overwatch work with all that? I'm trying to remember. I haven't played it in so long. You don't choose a server.
I'm terrible at it.
It just queues you
Choose
up.
the region. No, you choose a region from your BattleNet. So EU or NA.
Oh, that's why I never saw it, because it's already chosen for my BattleNet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's already chosen on your BattleNet, yeah. You have to change it on there and then log back in if you want to play on a different...
Okay. Yeah, and so that was the interesting thing, like what he said about Feast Chat, and then there's chat in Overwatch. But then again, different culture stuff is the only thing I can even think about in that kind of response. But that's it for that interview, guys. First question I'm going to ask all you guys as a question in general. Did I at least get the right points across? Did I at least say the right questions?
Yeah.
I think those are the right questions, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I went out there. I definitely tried. I went to bat, and I wanted to get these answers out there. And I know some of these responses weren't exactly what we were looking for, but I can still find something out of it. There's still stuff in there that has some positivity to it, and mostly it comes around with what's happening in 4.1 and 4.2. And I am excited to see what +1 here can do with 4.1 and Biggs can do with 4.1. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, because +1, you're working with the Aether League. Yeah.
I'm working mainly with the Aether Cup.
Okay, mainly with the Aether Cup, but is it Sin that's mainly doing the Aether League?
Yeah, Sin, Mateo, Nikos is also involved. So yeah, several players from the Aether community.
All right. And so it's basically going to be what we are hoping, Light Party would be.
Yeah, it's so I can talk about it a little bit if so they're planning kind of like an in-house community ran seasonal league specifically for Light Party Feast, and that should be starting sometime after patch 4.1. And it doesn't matter if it's your first time getting into Light Party PvP. In fact, it's something we encourage. And they have a whole kind of portal set up on pvpaisa.com, and they have their own Discord channel too. Like if you want to look for a team, or if you have a group that you want to register. But yeah, it's going to be centered all around the new crossover customs feature that'll be added with 4.1. And they're kind of going to have their own, progression system in terms of ranking, and, eventually get into their own in-house kind of like tournament finals and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be an interesting it's, you can almost think of it. I think it's going to be like a community ran version of what SE is planning to do in 4.2.
Yeah. And it's exciting because not only, I guess mainly because you guys are running it, it's also moderated. by you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the community is actually monitoring this stuff. And so if you can't really win trade in it. So it's a serious league. Like, this seems like super serious. It's like what we want to actually see come out of Light Party, but it's actually done by the player base. And I feel like that's going to be really interesting to see how it turns out. And I definitely encourage you guys to look into this. Because when it comes to PvP, this is going to be something that I jump into to start taking seriously.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're cutting out +1, but I feel like I hear like a little quick noise every once in a while. Do you guys hear that too? Or am I just insane?
You might be.
Okay.
Hearing that.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my feedback too.
Yeah.
And
And so Marshall Renew is running like the website and stuff like that. So credit to him as well.
Yeah. Okay. Marshall, thank you very much for all this stuff. Nikoza, Sin, Mateo, you +1, thank you for all that stuff because it's really awesome. And they were asking about the Aether Cup as well.
Yeah. So the Aether Cup is like a completely separate entity. The Aether Cup is more kind of like we've envisioned it more as like the Super Bowl or like the Olympics of a Light Party. Whereas focused specifically on like the top, 5, 6 or so teams worldwide even. So we even invite teams from other data centers as well for that. But that's focused kind of on like the super high end of Light Party play. Whereas the Aether League is more for, it doesn't matter what your skill level is going into Light Party. You can be brand new into that and still be able to participate and learn.
Okay. All right. Are you guys going to end out the league with the Aether Cup?
Yeah, we've actually been talking about that. We're not sure exactly how that's going to play out, but it's definitely a possibility. But you should also look forward because we have still been thinking of, like, me and Mateo at least have been thinking about what we're going to do next for the Aether Cup. So we're excited about that. And Biggs here is also planning something himself, specifically for Chaos, which I think he'd like to talk.
Exactly what perfect lead into that, because I was like, if you guys aren't on Aether, there's someone else out there doing some stuff. Biggs, can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so we wanted to do this a while ago, but sadly they removed Light Party, so we've been waiting a while to do this, but thankfully now with 4.1 we can.
Mm-hmm.
Where we've asked the Chaos people not long ago what would they prefer, because we wanted to see what the players wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We asked them they wanted a league or a tournament, and the majority wanted a tournament, so that's what we're going to be doing. So 4.1 is going to be start of October, so maybe mid to late October, we're going to be having the first Chaos Cup going on. I've posted the site because it's been removed now. So I've been speaking to +1. I've been speaking to the guys who did Aether Cup. I've been looking around. Fouls have been helping out with a lot of images we've been setting up. And we've took a lot of advice on. We've seen what they could do and seen what other challenges could happen. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good fun because this is what the players wanted as well. And we wanted to do this a good while ago, but sadly it got removed.
Yeah. But we'll have a better way to do it for sure coming up soon too. The logistics in doing the Aether Cup was ridiculous, having every single person stream and having to jump between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just organizing it, because we had over 30 people involved, like total, across all the members of the team. So we had to change, and I think Miyuki remembers this. Like 4 times just to make sure we can get everyone available the same day at the same time for like several hours. So yeah, it was crazy headache to set up, but I think very well worth it in the end.
Yeah. And so now going into this the 4.1 post PvP world, we're gonna have a very simple way, I guess, because you can actually. The custom match you can spectate in many different angles. I haven't played around too much with the custom matching and spectator mode. Have you guys done too much with the spectator mode or done anything?
Not done custom, but not the spectator mode. But again, it's how spectator mode going to work for cross-world customs. That's one thing got to take into account.
I hope it's it would be the same way, wouldn't it?
Hopefully.
Well, you have to invite spectators, like right-click their name and then invite them to spectate the game. So I don't know how that's going to work if you have to like queue up for a cross-world custom or whatever.
Well, if they're in your friends list, maybe you just right-click their name, right?
But they're on a different world.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have cross-server friends list too.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. And I think link shells and all kinds of other stuff going on. You can tell them as well.
Yeah, we can do towels and friends, but link shells I don't think they're there for 4.1. That's later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. We'll see how that works out. I'm super, super excited for it because I feel like after 4.1, the community itself is going to build a lot of stuff out there that's going to make PvP more exciting. And hopefully we'll have a good, strong foundation of things that happen that Square Enix can even take into account going forward with their system that they're going to be doing in 4.2, which will lead to probably the biggest PvP event that Square Enix has ever done at the end of their I guess it's the light party, the official light party tournament stuff that they're doing. And so we'll see. The other bits that I want to talk to you guys about is, again, I appreciate Yoshida responding to everything that I said, even though it all wasn't what I wanted answered perfectly, whatever, that's fine. The fact is that at least I got a response here. And then hopefully in the future I'll have more of those interviews. And then we can just keep bringing up whatever's the topics that we want to bring up. But, I mean, it's rough right now, guys, as getting used to the new system. I kind of have a question for you all. Everybody was really, really, really upset in many different ways at the very beginning of Stormblood PvP. Have you guys changed your opinion at all?
Nope.
Fucking Biggs. +1?
It's been about the same, but again, that's mainly because my focus has always been on light party, and that hasn't been fully realized yet. So I think I'll have a more solidified opinion once the crossover customs happen, and we have everything plays out.
Okay. All right, guys. I haven't looked at questions yet. Let's look at questions here. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Just imagine how many serious questions we have out of this list.
No.
I think there might be
one.
I think there might be
All
one.
right.
I didn't sort them out, so I'm gonna answer these as they come up. All right. This is from DS. This is for Miyuki. What's your favorite K-pop song?
Oh, Jesus
Completely
Christ.
related to the topic, 100%.
Blackpink, as if it's your last.
It's what? Say that one more time.
My God. Blackpink, as if it's your last.
Is that a band?
Blackpink is the band, yes.
Okay.
The girl group, yeah. No, Lion, not like TT.
Oh my God. All right, so I might sort this out. I might ask a few non-serious questions, and then I'll ask a serious question, because this is of course not related to PvP. This is for +1. This is from Uncle Acid. He needs to know if John Wick 2 is worth watching.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 100%.
This is. I actually haven't watched that yet. I watched the first one. It was entertaining. It was completely like.
Yeah, it's like balls to the wall,
Yeah.
Insanity.
All right. This is. Jesus Christ, guys. This is for Biggs. This is from Dark Falls Mom. Why are you bald?
I've shaved it off.
You shaved it? Okay, there you go.
I shaved my head.
You shaved your head. You didn't shave your head because you're losing hair. You're shaving your head because of style.
Nah, I'm losing it.
We're all losing our hair some way, man. Yeah, everybody. I hide it. You guys can't see it, but I'm losing hair in the back of my head.
Turn around.
No. I ain't turning around. No, man. I'm smart. I'm a streamer. You guys only see the face. Okay. So here's a serious question for Miyuki. This is from Migimu, I think.
yeah.
What would your advice be to new healers who are just starting the season?
Why am I getting asked this question? I'm not a healer main.
I don't know. All right.
At,
You are
Huh?
probably the closest healer main out of everybody on this show so far.
I would watch healer streams and just specifically like if you can find JP healers or acid, just
Or acid.
notice, yeah, or acid. Just notice how much like they cure one over cure two, and they only cure two when they need to. Because a lot of mistakes I see new healers is they just spam cure two over and over and over, and they're only healing like 2,000 HP when it's really not worth it. And just be wary of your positioning and learn how to pole dance.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
He also wanted to know if you would Eternal Bond with him.
Yeah, transfer to Caliber.
Okay. This is a question for everyone from Nimhi. Oh God. This is a serious question, but I feel like it holds too much emotion behind it. But I'm going to ask it anyways, Nimhi. Do you think Square not being active in punishing exploiters keeps a lot of players from caring about rankings? Everybody, short answer. You got one word. What would you say?
Can you repeat that?
Do you think Square not being active in punishing exploiters keeps a lot of players from caring about rankings?
A good amount of people are not too fussed anyway, because Season 5's the skill level so low, and a healer's gonna win it.
Yeah.
Most people are not fussed either way.
Unless if you're on a JP servers, right, Miyuki?
Maybe.
Okay. You don't know. You don't look at the ranking.
Not really.
Yeah, one word answer. Big says like a couple sentences there. I was expecting everybody to just say yes and we'd be done with that conversation, actually. +1.
Some.
Some. Okay.
Maybe not a lot, but yeah, I definitely know some people that just chose not to participate because they don't want to deal with that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, same with me.
All right. This is... do we have another serious question? I'm trying to find one real quick. Okay. This is from Atari. Biggs, how different is NA from EU to you? Which do you prefer to play on and why?
I prefer to play on Primal. Only for the reason that I come across less new healers compared to Chaos. But again, if I had that look on Chaos, I'd be over there because a 200 ping and your chakras and tornado kicks not going off is not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much down to look of not getting, not seeing as many new healers because probably I'm just queuing at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
I have more fun on Primal.
Okay.
Just for luck, I guess you could say.
Fair enough. Do we have any more serious questions? But +1, you didn't get a lot of questions here. I think John Wick was the only question you got, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Let's God damn, why is everybody focused on your head, Biggs? All right, I'll go through these. We'll shotgun through them real quick.
How many is there for the head?
I think there's only a couple. I think there's only a couple here. This is from McGee. Did you freshly shave your head for this show?
No, last week.
Okay. Are you prematurely balding or just accepted and shaved your head? That we already answered that a little bit.
Yeah, I've already should have shaved it now.
Yeah.
It can go still goes pretty long.
Yeah. And the last thing is just saying it's a good look. Okay, hand emoji. There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A what emoji?
Okay, hand.
Okay, hand.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is from Euflis, I think, from Miyuki. Have you played with May?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who it is
maybe
either.
or maybe not.
Yeah. Dyson also had a question for you saying you're not a girl. Or not a grill, sorry, not a grill.
It's a voice changer. You should ask other people.
Oh, do you have a voice changer? Do you do that?
The world may never know.
Do you actively... Oh, okay. All right. That'd be really interesting. I've seen you now, because you fucked up at the beginning of the show. So, I have the real answer. But
You have the real answer.
me and +1 have the real answer to it. The only people in the world.
Other people do too in the chat, I'm pretty sure.
Well, Okay. This is from Mickey Mouse to Frosty. Huh. I don't wonder if this is a troll question. No. Oh, what's the hardest part of tanking role in Feast now? If I had to give a straight answer, and you guys are more experienced PvP players than I am, so you guys can call me out on this. I feel like the most difficult thing about tanking right now is finding out where you need to fill in and help your party at. Whether it's controlling the DPS more or controlling the healer more. That's the most difficult thing. Because sometimes your healer, if you know they're a good healer, you have to go out there and try to focus on keeping the healer CC'd so your DPS have a better chance of getting a kill. But at the same time, you have to know how good their DPS is, because then you have to value that towards how well your healer can heal and if they can handle all the bursts that's coming out and if they're going to coordinate. So just trying to put together all the factors and figuring out how to actually be useful for the composition of the team you have based on their skill levels, not just based on what they're playing. Is that true?
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, that's John Wick. You play tank a good bit. Tell me your biggest challenge.
Paladin has always kind of had that challenge to it where you need to know if you want to be more offensive or defensive. I think for like Dark Knight and Warrior, obviously it's a lot more clear cut, but on Paladin, you know, you have to worry about, okay, do you assist the DPS? Do you assist your healer? You know, it's a lot more decision making for sure compared to the other two tanks.
Yeah, it's rough.
It is. Yeah, it's rough.
That's why I've lost. I think I have a 20% win rate since 0.06. So depressing.
How many games?
Like 25, 30 games, somewhere in there. It's sad, man. It's sad. I've lost 200 points so far. Actually, that's kind of funny. I've only lost 200 points so far. Let's see. This is from Duck to Biggs. Are you Biggie Biggs or Biggs Biggs?
Oh, no.
I am not Biggie Big.
Is there a player called Biggie Biggs?
In
The
Primal, yeah. They appeared
And-
about the same time, too, which is the worst part.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Pretty much play at the same time, and then I wouldn't even be online. I'll be asleep, and I'm still getting messages going, "Yo, is Biggie Biggs that one or is it that one? Wait, no, which one's which?" They'll get people who say like, "Oh, is this Biggie Biggs?" Oh, like no, please. He's a Rogadin.
You know, it's funny. There's people out there who play with names that are similar, and they get accused for win trading because their names are similar. Have you guys seen that? No? Okay. Maybe it's just me that heard that one thing that one time. Is this season better or worse than season 2? I'm going to redirect this from Biggs, and I'm going to put it on John Wick here.
No, it's not better.
It's not better?
No.
Yeah, you thought you'd get a positive answer.
Oh my god. I tried, dude. Uncle Asset is asking Biggs why he has no friends. Why does Uncle Asset have no friends?
Many reasons.
Many reasons. Is it because he's a dick?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Okay. I don't really know him that well. That's just what people tell me. That's his reputation. And Jesus, Miyuki's having a great time over there.
Oh my god.
Miyuki, this is from Nukim, I think. Between Mana and Gaia, which do you prefer to play on and why?
Oh god. Mana that's partially a job thing though, because I have white mage on Mana and I don't have white mage on Gaia. I just think Mana is at a higher level of play than Gaia is.
Mm-hmm.
So I learn a lot more there.
Okay. And why do you play Red Mage at 4 a.m. queues? Asking Miyuki.
To me? Why do I play?
Hey, Red.
I don't play Red Mage. I played like 3 games on Red Mage in Aether.
That's the question. It was directed to you. I don't know. Do you not do
I
that?
must sleep at 4 a.m. I have class.
Okay. Maybe they got you confused with someone else. Oh, Jesus. And I thought I'd get a lot of serious PvP questions, guys. Oh, jeez.
Because no one should still be playing Red Mage, even with the buffs.
Really? You don't think Red Mage is
I think Red Mage still needs help. They have a lot of damage on burst. I think I calculated it, and it was like 8,800 damage or something. But
Still the lowest range, though, isn't it?
It might be, I'm not sure. But it's like so spread out how long it takes for that damage to sink in, and it's so like split up into global cooldowns and everything. I just think it needs to be a faster burst. But there are some good Red Mages on JP, but JP is a lot different because you coordinate burst, so it doesn't really matter.
That's true. JP's better. That's why it's different. They can coordinate properly without feast chat. Do you guys think that everybody needs to put a countdown macro on their toolbar now?
I don't think so. I just would like it if like there was like it's widely accepted in the data center that like tank shot calls or melee shot calls, and they say like everyone attack and put a target on someone when they're bursting. You don't necessarily have to have a macro, but
well, I mean, it just has to go towards the most experienced player in the party, which you don't know who that is.
Right. That's also the issue with chat. I know, like when I play range and I want my melee to mark, I'll just spam mark one on the melee's head and hope they notice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just spam mark them to make sure they just start marking, and if they don't mark, well, I'll mark eventually.
Oh man. +1. Are you gonna add a countdown macro to your hotbar?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I actually haven't tried it yet. I can try, see how it works. I'm not sure how helpful it'll be on but maybe on the other data centers I can see.
Well, if you see it more, if more people do it, then it's going to be a little bit more common, right?
Right.
One on NA do it, at least on NA.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of people do it. Biggs, are you going to do a countdown macro?
I've got it. I've done it some games. It's worked with like 2 or 3 players.
You got to do it every game.
That's the thing. Most think that you're trolling them.
Right.
Like you before the gates open, you'd use it to show it to make, yo, I've got this, so you're aware. Like, I've even added them in the Discord saying, yo, do you know what this means? Yes, no, and they think I'm throwing abuse at them with this macro. Before the gate's not even open yet, I've popped this one macro, and they think I'm abusing them. Not a lot I can do.
It's true. It's true.
So now this person thinks I've got an issue with them. I had another time where the macro would go off, they'd hit someone else. Like the macro, they're hitting them, 0 comes, they switch target. Like, what the fuck? There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I have one issue with the macro is that you can't use other macros when the macro is going off. Because I've been playing a lot with targeting macros to target each player on the enemy team. Because as a black mage, I'd like to be able to instantly swap someone to sleep and then instantly swap back to my target that I want to burst. Which targeting macros helps a lot because the tab targeting system in this game is not the best.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely true. And I think that I might need to set that up myself is where I change targets. And that's all it does is it changes to the target I want to change to.
Yeah.
The macro?
Yeah.
Yeah, the macro.
You could have it where if you had the person who you wanted the macro to go on as your focus target and you change the macro to go on the focus target person instead of your target, it would work that way, would it not?
No, not the targeting macro. It's just that when you use the targeting macro, you can't use another macro to target a different player by name. Because using a macro when another macro is running cancels.
It doesn't work. Right.
Yeah. So if you're doing a countdown and you switch targets
or use another macro, it just stops the countdown.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use macros at all right now, but I do understand the huge difficulty I currently have with tab targeting and going through all that other stuff. And so I'm going to be probably implementing that myself in the future. I'm going to have to make a macro, 8 macros. 1 to switch to the enemy team, or 7 macros, right? And 1 to switch to different people on my list. Right? That's the only way I can think to do it. Because I'm done with.
I actually use my function keys F1 through 4 to target players on my party list, which has been really helpful for healing because when I'm healing against like really good players, I get kind of shaky. So like I'll misclick a lot of things, but since I use the function keys, I can't misclick party members anymore.
All right. Well, this is a public service announcement, everybody. Countdown macros should exist. Know what they are and use them.
And don't play Red.
Don't play Red.
Play whatever you guys want. I don't care. Just be good at it, guys. Just try.
It's impossible.
It's not impossible, man.
Red Mage. Just don't.
All right. So we're at the part of finalizing this show, and before we get to like all the shouts and everything else, I figured I'd do a round table here and let you guys say whatever else you have left that you'd like to say before we end the show up. I'm going to start with the most negative, Biggs.
Oh.
If you could start first. Yeah?
Oh, I thought it was Miyuki. Okay.
Miyuki's not the most negative, are you?
I'm not that negative.
No.
No way. Biggs is super negative.
Yeah, I would say Biggs. Okay.
Nah. Right, so what? Just saying.
Well, your last final thoughts on the show, or just over in general about what we talked today?
Along with Red Mage, don't play Warrior or Astrologian.
Okay. That's it?
Well, don't expect anything from Square Enix.
Oh my god.
Damn.
All right, the big negative. I have you marked down right now as the negative guest, and so if I need negative energy coming onto the show, I will bring Biggs onto the show. God, if I had you and Stefan on here, fucking.
You did. You did once.
Yeah, 24-hour show.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't be a 24-hour show. It would just be like a big shit fest of like this sucks, and it just never stopped, man.
Yeah, you sucked on his lamp.
What? Well, his lamp was he had it like on the back of his head. He looked like a halo or something. I don't know what it was. All right, Miyuki, what's your final thoughts on discussion today and just anything in general of PvP?
Just in general of PvP, if people have the time, I highly recommend playing on JP. It is a great experience. Even if you are unranked, you will learn a lot. I learned a lot. Even if you're 200 ping, still go. I still recommend to go and play over there.
Okay. Fair enough. You got to level a character up to 30. That's all you got to do.
Choose an XP bonus world. It takes like 6 or 7 hours. It's really fast.
Nice. And you can communicate.
Yeah.
Feast chat works like that, all right? There's the positive to it all. We found the silver lining, guys. All right. Any other thoughts?
No, that's it.
Okay. +1, you're the most positive one out of everybody. So you can finalize this here, too. What's your final thoughts here, dude?
I think we covered most everything. I think it's actually a pretty good show going over this review. But I hope people start to think more about Light Party as it's coming up soon. Think about who you want to play with. Think about what class you want to play. Look into the Aether League if you want. And I'm personally really looking forward to how the future of Light Party is going to play out, and excited to see more things like the Chaos Cup, the future Aether Cup that'll happen, the Aether League, everything. I think we're in for a cool next few months.
Yeah. Again, I've said this before. 4.1, I'm excited for just because of the community.
Yeah, it's a good point. Start making your teams now for your Aether League and Chaos Cup. It's the time to be doing it. So post who's looking for players. If you want to build a team, this is the time to do it. Don't wait until the cup starts or a week before. Start now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Start building your teams.
All right. You know who's on my team? I'm going to say this. I haven't talked to him. I'm going to get Herp. All right. He's going to be on my team.
Oh, man.
I'm going to get Valine. She's going to be the ranged. Then I need a melee, right?
You need
Occam.
Who?
Occam.
Occam?
Me.
You. Oh, you'll come.
Occam. Let's go.
You'll be on my team?
Yeah, let's do this.
So
negative energy.
Biggs, Herp, and Voline all in there, and we are going to be Frosty and the Cancers. The people, the most negative energy ever combined. No, I guess I would have to get Danny in there too.
Oh God.
Yeah, he'd have to be involved. But yeah, no, okay. Biggs, shout outs. What shout outs you want to do?
Shout out to the FC, pretty much, I guess. Pioneer 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyone who doesn't cheat.
Very nice. Miyu?
Shout out to Pioneer 2 for letting me join their free company on my alt. Shout out to my Primal Light Party team, which is probably disbanding, unfortunately, due to people not playing anymore. Shout out to my Aether team as well, and because we're competing in Aether League, probably Aether Cup as well. And special shout out to Lion, who's in chat, for always helping me keep my head up when I'm feeling down.
Aw. It's nice. Is that you winking at him right now in the picture?
Oh my god.
Because you got the voice changer on there, you know. +1. Shout outs for you, dude.
Shout out to my boy Mateo, who couldn't be with us today because he's currently on like a month-long trip around Europe. Yeah. But hopefully he'll be around for the next PvP MogTalk. Yeah. He's always a fun guest. Shout out to my boys on Cactar, Jay, Jen, Kiri, Nick, Cam, Lumi. Well, the last two aren't on Cactar, but still, they're part of my static. Shout out to the Aether Cup, which if you haven't checked out, you should definitely do so. Twitch.tv/Aether Cup, which you can watch the recording there if you want to see what the highest level of Light Party PvP is all about. Also, if you want to get hyped for the future Light Party events that are happening in the community. And finally, I guess, shout out to Frosty Mogborn for continuing to support PvP on his show. Let's get some PogChamps in the chat for him.
PogChamp, man. Yeah, do it. Thanks, +1. And yeah, and honestly, so I do want to say this little final statement here in regards to all that too, is that I've been playing this game for like two to 3 years since I think patch 2.2, somewhere in there. And the whole reason I went through all this effort and I went out there to try to reach out, and that I'm working as much as I am with the community, is because I enjoy being a part of the PvP community in any way at all. Just going out there, and it's actually fun PvPing and talking to other people and getting excited about beating the hell out of each other. There's tons of issues with this mode that we have to fix, and if they can get fixed, this game would be absolutely amazing, and that's what I'm looking for. But in the end, just talking to people, and the people in the community are absolutely amazing. So again, that's why I went through. I developed these questions, and I can't just shoot a billion emails out to them saying, "Hey, answer my questions, Yoshida. Keep answering my questions." Every once in a while, I can send out something. I wanted to dedicate this just to the community, because I know people go out there and they meme PvP and Final Fantasy every day. They're like, PvP and Final Fantasy, what a joke, right? But there's still people out there who enjoy it, people who have fun with it, and I feel like it's way more fun than some of the other communities I've been a part of. So thank you guys for being awesome. And I gotta say, this is going to be the controversial one. This is going to be the one that no one likes. Thank you very much to the NA community team, who puts up with so much shit that we give them every single day. Hopefully, there's going to be a couple different things that will change, and that won't be the same way anymore. But could you imagine, like, going out there and just trying to do a good job, then getting shit on, like, as soon as you do it? Because we don't see everything that goes behind the scenes with what they do, but I know that they from what I've talked to them as, I know that they actually go out there and they try, especially with what they're given. So thank you guys for doing a very, very difficult job. And I'm going to thank Kurara, who supports me in doing this show. I'm going to thank Blizzana for giving me the artwork for this show. I'm going to thank you, everybody who's watching the show right now, whether it's on YouTube or if it's on live on Twitch. And also, thank you very much, Andre Kane, for letting me use your music for the intro and the closing of the show. And thank you to all the guests who came on, whether they're negative, positive, light, dark, Biggs, light, darker. Thank you. Miyu, thank you very much. +1, you guys are all awesome. Super dedicated PvP players. And it was a blast having you on here. And we will be doing another PvP show, hopefully in about a month from now. Maybe around the time right before we start to get into the 4.1 patch. So, look forward to that. There will not be a MogTalk next week, unfortunately, because of work. Completely canceling out my ability to be here to do the show, but there will be one the week after, and I hope you guys look forward to that. Follow me on Twitter if you need to. And we will shortly be hosting somebody, which we'll discuss during the credits here. Thank you, everybody who subscribed during the show, and until next time, you guys be good, keep cool, and stay frosty. Wave, everybody. Say bye.
I'm waving, but they can't see me.
We'll say bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.